Greetings. Welcome to the Asana Kitchen. A woman wrote me and asked me about Pincha Mayurasana. She said, how can I balance in Pincha Mayurasana? I keep falling out of it. So that's what we're going to go into with this video. But what I want to say is that you have to go back to the foundation. It's what I call appreciate the difficulty of what you're trying to do, and then have the discipline and the patience to go through the proper steps to achieve your goal. Because just kicking up and hoping for the best is not your smartest way of going about it, or most efficient. Pincha Mayurasana, it's basically samastitihi, balancing on your forearms upside down. Okay, so you want to achieve that very nice tall line, the legs, the hips, the torso, all in a single column. Okay, and so even if you can balance, but you're off of that line, the legs are over, or you're arching, or the different things, this is still not the best way to go about it. For achieving balance, I'm going to take you through some steps. To me, there's a progression of headstand, forearm balance, handstand. Okay, and you work the same way for all three of those, but headstand's easiest, forearm medium, and handstand's the most difficult. So you really, in order to balance nicely in Pincha Mayurasana, you've got to be able to balance nicely in headstand. So this is your foundation, and you can't bypass the foundation and go to the more complex thing and hope to have success. Okay, so that's where we're going to start here. Okay, so the foundation of headstand is very similar to forearm balance, and it's key to the whole process. All right, so you just make sure you're thorough in that. You get your elbows shoulder width apart, not too wide, not too narrow. Really stamp down your forearms and place the top of your head, and so here's your setup. All right, and you want to value this, okay? And like often people walk way in and collapse the shoulders or move the back, and you don't want to do those things, okay? So you want to stay very nice and tall through your back and your whole spine. And if you walk in, your back doesn't budge. It stays right where it is. Okay, and I'll just show you that Pincha is the same exact protocol. Okay, so here I am. I was like this. I just went like that, and then here I am. So the identical setup, okay? But, and you can work on your Pincha like that. It's just define the setup position well as part of how you're going to gain the skill in balance to stay up there when you finally do come up. Okay, so then when you come up in your headstand, okay, you want to be able to balance nicely here. I have that nice vertical line from my ankles, knees, hips, shoulders. So, right, the feet aren't back or the legs bent, right, or the hip, the ribs ejecting. So if you're like this, then you're going to have trouble with your Pincha. Okay, so you've got to be able to really dial in that axis in your headstand and stay up there steady, and really weight your arms. Okay, so right now, at least 50% of my weight is in my arms. So I'm actively pressing down to the forearms and lifting the shoulders, reaching through the legs. So I'm being very active there. Okay, and then you can add some sort of drills to test your skill and balance. So one is like thighs to chest and up with a move. Thighs to chest and up with a move. And then you can do that one leg at a time. All right, and notice how I'm keeping the danda, that those movements are not throwing me off balance. Okay, and so you can practice
And you can also practice the transition. You can kind of test your skill in balance in headstand and become much more masterful at balancing. And all of this will help you when you're ready. It'll improve your balance in forearm balance. Okay, so from there, what I would do is I suggest these strength building drills in the forearm balance. That would be the next thing I suggest. And so the thing is that balancing, it's a combination of strength. So it's partly about strength, because that's what allows you to stabilize. And it's partly something else too, that balance is a different quality than strength. One thing you want to target to improve your balance is strength, for sure. Okay? And I have an exercise coming for you that's kind of working with the balance part more. I definitely encourage you to kind of milk the strength part as one of your main strategies. What we do is you make that beautiful setup in your pincha and with your feet on the ground and the blocks right between your feet. And I position them this way, even though it's narrower for the feet, because this way it's actually less stable. Okay, so keep them like this. And you put enough blocks that when you step onto that, you can actually get the leg to vertical. Okay, and then you work there and stay. And what'll happen is your mind gets tired before your body gets tired. So yeah, this is hard work, but it's not that hard. You could stay there for a while and build arm strength and try to define that danda with your extended leg, hip, torso, shoulder, all lining up. Okay, and then you can do this thigh to chest move and switch and tire yourself out. Okay, so and notice that these are all alternatives to just kicking up and hoping for the best. Okay, or kicking up and just staying with whatever position you default into. So with these, you're taking these steps to build the arm strength, the foundation, and then also to be able to hold that danda nicely. Because when you can hold that vertical line, you're going to balance. All right, and so lastly, we will look at. So using the wall is an excellent way to work with the balance. Some people think that like using the wall as a crutch or something, and I disagree with that. I think it's a very helpful device to work in a progression of steps towards your goal. When you do this, you got to have your fingers your middle finger all the way to the wall, because you're going to kick up and you could kick up and try to balance, but you can also kick up and just let the feet go to the wall and then take one off at a time. Remember, so I'm not back here, because if I go back here, then I'm going way over, and I'm trying to stay as close to the vertical axis as I possibly can. Okay, so here I come, and so remember, you make your beautiful setup position. And then even how you come up into your pose can determine your balance too. Okay, so you don't want to do a thing like where you kind of hurl yourself up, right? You want to make it as streamlined as possible. So you set up and then bring that one leg up and then kick the other one up. Okay, and then take the feet to the wall and reach up through the legs, plant the forearms, and take one leg off. And try to line that up. So the whole ankle, knee, hip, shoulder line, and then the other. and really activate, stamp your forearms, lift up through the both legs are strong and extended. Okay, and then you can try to bring that other foot off and balance. All right, so that's an excellent way to do it. All right, so you got both feet at the wall, but you're being as vertical as you possibly can. One at a time. Stamp the forearms, reach up through both legs. So remember, you want that danda, but it could be a tiny bit beyond too. There's a little bit of a gray area. If you have enough control, you kind of play with it. So you can go like really strict samastitihi line, or this tiny little up and over slightly, but with not turning it into a back bend or anything, but yeah, you can play with it a bit. Okay, so beautiful setup, remember. And also remember this, that when you're doing your pose, when you lean forward, that's what tends to make your elbows go apart. It makes it harder to balance. So you actually are trying to keep this nice vertical line in your pose, and that helps you to really plant the forearms and keep them in place, and so they don't slide apart. Okay, so the setup is key. Really define it like you do Urdhva Dhanurasana. Then take that one leg up and kick. And then plant the forearms, reach up through the legs. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, so just closing, just remember that appreciate the difficulty of these apparently basic things that we do, right? Like this is hard. And so, so you've got to have the discipline and the patience to take it step by step, and it could take several months to build up the strength to balance nicely there. That's what I encourage you though. Don't be in a hurry to get ahead in the steps. Work with your basics. And actually, I do want to show you one more thing, because you can even go farther back into the foundation and the basics than the setup and coming up of headstand and coming up into headstand. And that is plank itself, right? And so, because that's your root, and that's really where the whole foundation of every arm balance is. Okay, so, and you want, right, a beautiful plank, so not a hips up or forward or dropping down, but powerful. And then you do these drills like tapping one shoulder. And notice how when I do it, I keep the danda. So the head, torso, pelvis, legs, they stay very aligned, which is what you're trying to do in pincha, okay, or the samastitihi arm. Or that combination. So the plank drills. And this one's hard, is to lift, to take that arm forward and the opposite leg up. Okay, so there you have it. There's some ideas for you. Let me know how it goes. Namaste.